Hey guys, I'm Auntie Alicia and welcome to my kitchen. Tonight we're going to be making a delicious, authentic, or at least Alicia authentic, dirty rice. This meal is going to be a dine and dash meal. It's a meal that we can get done in about 30 minutes from start to finish. So let's get started. 30 minutes on the clock. Let's go. All right, so we're going to start with the rice cooker. You could use a pot if you want that, but I'm going to use a rice cooker. Guess I could have got a measuring cup out and brought it over there. Now you're gonna follow the instructions on your bag of rice if you're gonna do it on the stovetop or how your rice cooker works. We're gonna chop up our vegetables. I've got 2 celery stalks that I've already rinsed. Now you could save yourself some time by the pre-chopped vegetables also. I'm just chopping our own. It's a little big of a bowl, but it'll work. I missed. All right, so I've got celery, onions, bell peppers. I'm gonna dice these up. I like to dice mine up a little on the smaller side. If you like it chunky, then you've got less chopping to do. And this is why I cannot be on like Cupcake Wars, like the pressure. Did I send you that video learning the new like TikTok challenge of can you write without lifting your pen? It's called cursive. I am not feeling confident about getting it done in time. All right, so I got my pan, ground turkey sausage, and then I got ground beef. We're just gonna start browning this. So I'm just gonna chop this up. Once it starts to brown, then I'll throw in our veggies. All right, while that's starting, I'm gonna go ahead and start measuring out my seasonings. All right, since it's starting to brown, we're gonna add our vegetables now too. So right now we're just sauteing the vegetables as well as cooking the meat. Breaking up some of these larger pieces of meat. Just like Alicia style dirty rice. Like I do not make anything authentic. I just go with what I think tastes good. All right, everything's cooked. Everything's looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and add all of my seasonings that I already measured. I'm gonna dump that in there. Give that a stir. Our rice just popped, so it is done cooking now. We're just gonna go ahead and let that sit there until we're ready for it. All right, and then I've got some flour I'm going to add. We're going to coat all of our veggies, our meat, and our seasoning with it and cook it for a minute or so until it's all coated. All right, so I got all that coated. I'm gonna go ahead and add our chicken broth. Okay, and then I'm gonna add in our bay leaves. Yeah, we just cook this down, like with the chicken broth and the flour. It's going to thicken up, kind of make like a gravy for all the meat and vegetables. So when we add our rice, it's gonna go ahead and coat the rice nicely. All right. Well, didn't make it. Yep, so it looks like my timer's off and I'm not done. Let me go ahead and turn that off. I still have probably 10 more minutes to go, 5 to 10 more minutes to go. Because I want to cook this for 5 to 8 minutes. And then once I add the rice, I want to stir in the rice and cook that for at least another 5 minutes. Now that I've done it, have some ways to improve getting it closer to that 30 minutes. The recipes always say, you know, oh, it's 30 minutes or it's only 10 minutes of prep and 20 minutes of cook time. Well, when you actually try them out, maybe it's not quite that. So, as I see, that's not the case here. Huh?
Maybe even closer to 6.
Okay. All right, got my rice in. Now we're gonna go ahead and stir this up and just let it simmer for another few minutes. Let that rice absorb all of the flavor. All right, and it looks like our dirty rice is done. All right, so let's serve it. And it looks like it took me 40 minutes. All right, so our dirty rice is done. It actually took me 40 minutes to make from start to finish. So I failed my challenge of under 30 minutes, but it still didn't take that much time. It's so much better than going to get fast food, and there's even enough for leftovers. So let's go ahead and have a bowl. You know, you got to have a little garnish, so we got some parsley. All right, so it's way too hot to eat, so while it's cooling, some of the things as time savers to get you closer to that 30 minutes or under is you could dice up your vegetables a little bit smaller. I took a little extra time because I chopped them a little bit bigger, and that celery was taking a little longer than I liked it to cook, so I didn't want like crunchy celery. So if you dice it up a little bit smaller, that'll help it cook faster. Instead of cutting my celery just down the center, I could have done it in like 4s and then just diced it up smaller. Also saute those vegetables for a minute or 2 and then add my meat. That'll give it a head start on cooking with the meat. And the meat, of course, because it's cold, it cools down that pan. This will just help the vegetables get a head start on that cook time. Another way of saving time is if, of course, prep different things ahead of time. If you're meal planning, if you already know a few of the meals that you're gonna have and they have similar ingredients, like you're cooking a couple meals that have onions, well, if you chop all your onions and just store them in the fridge, and that way they're ready to go, so the next meal you don't have to chop them. 25 of those minutes were like the rice cooking, but I'm not having to touch it. But still, once it was done, I still needed at least 5 minutes to cook it in the pan. All right, so let's give this a try. It's yummy. It's a complete meal. I got my protein, I got my veggies, and I got my carbs in here. Like I said, a whole complete meal. You don't need a side or anything. The flavor's really good. And it even has a little bit of a kick in there from that cayenne and chili powder. If you like it a little spicier, add a little bit more. It's really versatile, but flavor's good, and it makes great leftovers. So there you have it. I challenged myself to 30 minutes, and it took me 40. I hope you go try this meal, and I know that with these tips, you'll be successful in getting it done in under 30 minutes. So 1, chop your vegetables smaller. 2, prep as much as you can in advance. And 3, start cooking your vegetables for a few minutes before you add your meat. I would love to hear if you give this meal a try, how long it took you, or any tips and tricks it took you to get it to be under that 30 minutes. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another Dine and Dash meal where I'll challenge myself again to a meal under 30 minutes to see if I can do it or not.